Tony, I thought you did an excellent job. I texted you immediately afterwards on Saturday night, just looking right down the barrel of the lens and talking about Hulk Hogan. Take us back to when you first got the news and when you had to deliver that news on live television this past Saturday.
Well, I first got the news from you, Conrad, when you sent me a text, and then, of course, I immediately go online and look around, and a couple of the sites had it. TMZ had it. I let some people in our company know exactly what had happened. Some of the guys I work with, and it just absolutely floored me because, well, I knew he had some back and neck and problems. I think anybody that knows him knew that he was really struggling to get around, but to have the heart attack and it when something like that happens, somebody that you work with, you kind of think about your own mortality and you think about how fragile life is, and you think about, my God, it did not seem that long ago when I was calling some of his matches, and even in the WWE in that one year I was there, and but then I thought about what he meant to pro wrestling, and it's undeniable what he meant to pro wrestling. So I put together a thing to say. And Tony Khan helped me with the verbiage of what to say. He wanted me to make sure I talk about the family and make sure I talk about how he made an impact in wrestling on TNT. And so I put it together, and I remember telling Tony, I said, "Do you want me to read it to you?" He went, "No." He said, "I trust you." I said, "Okay." So, and then I told the guys in the truck, I said, "Please do not wrap me up. Do not say you got 10, 9, 8." And they said, "Okay." I think they gave me a minute and 30 to do it. I think I did it in like a minute 10, minute 15. Uh, and it was from the heart as a wrestling fan, and it was from the heart as a guy that was fortunate enough to be a part of a company where Hulkamania was, as they say, running wild, and to be a part of the company where Hulk Hogan turned things around. And again, like I said, ignited the Monday Night Wars. I was there for all of it, and that's not lost on me. So it was truly from the heart. And again, and I'm not going to bring this down to say that you can't please everybody, and there's going to be people on both sides saying bad things about what I said. I did have a lot of fun. I think the day after he died, maybe on Twitter or X, you know, uh, responding to all these fucking idiots. And then somebody said, "Tony, log off. You've had enough fun." And even Matt got in touch with me. He said, "Stop." I said, "Okay, I'll stop." Uh, but it was, and I still think about it. I still think right now about Hulk Hogan passing, and
Yeah.
it's 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 weird, isn't it? It's like, no, no, there's no way that happened. So it was a very very sad day. It really was.
And Dave Meltzer even wrote in the Observer, even Tony Khan, who was publicly quiet about Hogan's passing, as were many in the industry, was brought into wrestling by Hogan. When Khan was 7, he was an avid television watcher, but did not grow up in a family that watched wrestling. But he saw Sergeant Slaughter every afternoon on the G.I. Joe cartoon and saw Hogan on an episode of the A Team. So, in him wanting to find out who those two people were, he discovered pro wrestling. While those were his two entrees and perhaps his favorites at first, he very quickly moved on to his favorite four wrestlers as being Ric Flair, Ricky Steamboat, Bret Hart, and Steve Austin. So I'm just saying the people who have decided they wanted to villainize Tony Khan or AEW, the way they did it, it got 5.5 million impressions. And respectfully, that's more impressions than anybody besides WWE got. So think whatever you want of Tony Schiavone's tribute, but it was effective and it was from the heart and it was real and it was authentic. And Tony Khan was a Hulk Hogan fan, but Hulk Hogan didn't work for AEW. They didn't have footage. They didn't own images. What they couldn't have done anything besides hashtag RIP Hulk Hogan. It's just silly. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of stuff here, Tony.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this. and I don't want to make this about knocking Twitter or online. It's that Twitter's as just like our buddy Antonio Santos said, and my daughter and I talked about this using the same verbiage this week. Twitter's a cesspool. It is a cesspool, and uh, I'm staying away from it. I'm not going to do much with it anymore, and let them people do what they do. A lot of the people do it just to be funny. A lot of the people don't even know what they're saying. They just want to be contrary. So, but that's not the story. The story here is that I was, uh, or I'll flip that around. Hulk Hogan was a big part of my career,
Yes.
and I feel honored, like I've told you before, that I held the stick or the microphone for Ric Flair during the '80s on TBS on the Superstation during the studio shows, and I feel honored that I called many of Hulk Hogan's matches, not only in the WWE but obviously in WCW. I mean, that's big, and that's not lost on me. So I feel very, very honored for all that.
Briefly, before we roll this beautiful bean footage, and we are going to be watching WrestleMania 3 on Peacock, we want you to join us at 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 54 seconds. That's 2:03:54. That's your last call. Peacock, WrestleMania Season 3, 2:03:54. Tony, before we watch this, can you tell everybody the story of when you first met Hulk Hogan in real life? Because I've always thought this was just a great story because it had to make you feel good as a newcomer to the WWF.
I'd gone to the studios at 120 Hamilton, which I understand have now been leveled. They're no longer there. And of course they've moved everything around. And I was back in what they call Edit One, which was the big edit suite. And there I was, and Hulk came in and he looked at me, he said, Tony Schiavone, hey brother, how you doing? He stuck out his hand. He said, welcome to the team. So he acknowledged me before I could even say anything or get anything out of my mouth. And that meant so much to me. Now, fast forward to it was the same year, it was 1989. I was on a flight. I happened to be able to upgrade for some unknown reason, and I happened to sit beside Hulk Hogan. I was on the inside, he was on the outside, and we talked the entire time about wrestling, about his love of wrestling, about my tenure at Jim Crockett Promotions and NWA and all that. And I remember him say before I got there, he said, "Man, it's great to talk to you. Great to finally get to know you." So he was so polite and good to me when I walked in, and I remember thinking, "This is the biggest star in the world." And this is the biggest star in the world who knows my work. And I was just, I was honored. I really was. So those are two moments I think about Hulk all the time. Now, honestly, when he was in WCW, he and I didn't have not have much verbiage back and forth. He was back there with Eric and going over some things. There were a couple of times I went back and they were telling me things they were going on, but very rarely did Hulk and I really have much talk back and forth during those years. But there's no question of the impact that he left on the sport, like I said, in the 80s and the 90s.
Now, respectfully, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I am trying to translate because I think sometimes I speak Tony. I mean, what you took a little bit of flack for last week was saying that Hogan was a coworker, not necessarily a friend.
No,
And
no,
I
see,
th- and I,
that's wrong. Someone asked me, was Hogan a close friend?
well, yeah, I think they referred to you as his close friend, and you
Right. And I
said
said,
not exactly.
no, I said, what, close friend? No. Coworker? Yes. I should have said close friend, no. Friend, yes. Because you can't work in this business without being friends with people that you work with. If
You're going to be friendly.
you're going to be friendly, right? But the question was close friend, and I wasn't a
With
close friend of. I wasn't. Eric Bischoff was a close friend of Hulk Hogan. Bruce Pritchard was a close friend of Hulk Hogan. Brutus the Barber Beefcake was not me, but I was friendly with him and a coworker. And so people, and that's why a lot of times when someone said, "Oh, you didn't say you were a friend of his," I would respond, "Go back and read it." And one guy said, "Go back and read it again slowly. If you can't read, have someone read it to you." Uh, so they misinterpreted that, but that's the way it is.
let me say, my litmus test for are we a close friend is Have I been to your house? Have you been to mine?
Right.
And if we hang out in real life, like at our homes, now we're real life friends.
Right.
If we just hang out when we're at work, we're work friends, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. I've got a ton of work friends.
Right.
But even at work, I have my work friends, and then I have people that I'm friendly with. And every now and again, I have motherfuckers I avoid.
Yeah.
And to be clear, Hulk Hogan was not avoiding you, and you were not avoiding Hulk Hogan, but you were friendly, but you weren't at his house and he wasn't at your house. Do I have that right?
Went to his house one time with Eric, and that was for work.
Yes.
And we went there to talk about something, I don't know, in Tampa. But no, a close friend would have been one that when what happened to his son Nick would have called him to say, "Hey, you okay? Is Nick okay?" When he lost his first marriage, you call him, "How you doing?" Right? That's what close friends do. But no, I mean, we after those years, they asked me, they said, "Well, when WCW parted ways with you, did you see Hogan?" Never saw him again. Never talked to him again from that. So yeah, if I had been a close friend, I would have been in contact with him. So that's what I said. Anybody, anybody that is going to say, that was wrong, just doesn't know how to read or reads what they want to read. And there's a lot of people on Twitter that just don't know how to read nor spell.
Well, and they're just looking to be pissed off about something.
Right, right.
The same people who are wanting to, trash Hulk Hogan. I just really challenge everybody. Hey, can we be better? Like you can keep your feelings to yourself. Sometimes
You
you
can.
don't have to say something bad. Like I know that people, get upset when I say that, but I do think a little decorum because it's natural that his friends and families are going to be spending more time looking at social media and the internet
Yep.
and discovering all this and stumbling across it. And I just want you to think if you're one of those straight up assholes who's writing something like rest in piss
Yeah.
underneath his memorial,
Right.
like, how would you feel if someone's writing that about your dad or your mom or your
Right.
brother or your sister or your son or your daughter? Like, man, we got to be better as a society. Like, the time to shit on Hulk Hogan was when he was here. But you getting online and throwing your little temper tantrum and showing your ass doesn't change anything. You're not going to change his mind. All you're going to do is just waller in that negativity and you're going to hurt his family. You're going to hurt his friends. You're going to hurt his fans who didn't do anything wrong. And if we can forgive, everybody else for everything else in our life, we should be able to find an opportunity to forgive Hulk Hogan. I know Jesus did. I only mentioned that because Hulk Hogan was baptized 18 months ago. And Tony, I know you're a Christian. And
Mm-hmm.
hey, man, if he squared everything away with the big man upstairs, who are we to judge? But
Yeah.
this idea that Hulk Hogan's supposed to be held to a perfect standard, I've even seen terrible things written about his son. And it's like, listen, guys, his son made a mistake when he was 17. The dude's like 35 now. Why are
Yeah.
we still talking about this?
Yeah.
Can we not give a kid an opportunity to get better and to change and to evolve and learn and grow? Like I just wish we had a little more grace right now in 2025. Tony, is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say, but Conrad, we're not. And let me tell you why. I was talking to Lewis about this today. We were talking at dinner, and I said, "Whatever happened to that friend of yours?" And I won't give the lady's name. She said, "Oh, we don't really talk much anymore." And I said, "Why?" She said, "Well, our political uh,
That's stupid.
our political leanings are opposite." And I said, that is what is wrong with America. The discourse that we have because of what social media has done has separated this country. And you're telling me that you cannot be friends with a guy if you're a Democrat, you cannot be friends with a Republican? That's your basis for friendship? Are you out of your freaking mind that is your basis for friendship? I have a lot of friends who are on the other side of the aisle with me.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, I'm not on any side of the aisle. I'm an American. I've always been that way. I told Lois, I wanted Joe Biden to succeed. I wanted Barack Obama to succeed. I want Donald Trump to succeed because I'm an American. And I'm not out there trying to undermine the president of the United States. But the discourse that we have of social media, of talk radio, and of news, cable news, has split this country, and it's never going to go back. Never. And it's terrible.
Don't we all love summer vacation, relaxing, laying out by the pool, barbecues, hitting the beach, doing, well, nothing? Well, how about a summer vacation from your house payments? With SaveWithConrad.com, you can do just that. Reduce your monthly payments by making the equity you built up in your home work for you. You can roll together those high interest rate credit cards into one lower monthly payment, and perhaps access some of that newfound equity to turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. And how about this? You get to skip your next 2 house payments. That's right. You won't have to make your June or your July house payment. You're done until August 1st. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com. Let my team run the numbers for you for free. There's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. And did I mention we're offering a 3-year guarantee right now? That's right. That means if at any point interest rates improve over the next 3 years, you get a free refi. That's right. No new lender fees from us. So you get to save money now without wasting money later when the rates improve on a whole second set of closing costs. Why not go to SaveWithConrad.com and get a guarantee? Save money now and save money later with your friend in the mortgage business. That's me, Conrad Thompson at SaveWithConrad.com. Shoot me an email at Conrad@SaveWithConrad.com. Give us a call at 888-425-0105. Or get yourself a quick quote, even talk to a live person right now at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender. Let's take a summer vacation from house payments at SaveWithConrad.com.